got some folks that let me know in the chat they'd like to ask questions. We'll get started with Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report.
Good afternoon, Justin. How you doing?
I'm well, Jeff. How are you?
Good. Wanted to ask you about your session on Saturday. You guys did 60 plays apparently with live tackling. Is that more than you would normally do? And if can you tell us why you did that and what you thought about it?
Yeah, it just kind of depends year to year on what the team needs. We went quite a bit alive. I don't know. We probably had right around that number of live football, which was really good. Now, it doesn't mean one person got 60. It's probably a given person probably had around 20, just with the numbers that we have. So we're able to spread those groups out. But it was a very competitive day. Again, thought we saw some growth from the first live scrimmage until last Saturday, and we would expect to see even more this week. A lot of kind of plus 50 plus territory, that go zone area we call it, where there's third and fourth downs that are getting really competitive, and then down in the high and low red zone. So it was a good day overall.
If I could ask you a follow-up on a different topic, doing something on Trey Watson. Can you talk about, tell me a story maybe about when he arrived at Washington, when you were the coordinator there, and he was a walk-on, and what was he like, and how much energy and enthusiasm did he bring, as a walk-on trying to find a niche?
Yeah, Trey, very fond memories of Trey as a player. Now, okay, you'll have to ask him for the timeline, but he had started out not at Washington. I recruited him out of high school. He and his buddy were good high school players. I was at Boise State at the time. Then he, I think, went to Central, I believe, or he had went to another school out of high school, if I remember correctly. But then he walked on at Washington and really just earned his way. And he always a very, very conscientious, really hardworking, instinctive, tough, kind of all the character traits that you look for in a player. Wasn't the biggest guy, had good speed, but not elite speed, and just, knew how to play football though. And he earned a scholarship rather quickly, played corner, nickel, safety, a little bit of everything for us. And just had real fond memories of him as a person and as a player there for those 2 years we were at Washington.
And sometimes like the superstars aren't as good of coaches as the guy who had to really work hard and sort of almost overachieve. Is that a quality that will serve him well?
Yeah, I think I think there's both out there. We have, the people that kind of the reason they were able to play is because they thought about the game and approached it like a coach. And now you also have some superstar players that end up being excellent coaches. So it doesn't exclude you from being a great, we got them on our staff. We have guys that played in the NFL and did it at the highest level who are big time players and are also excellent coaches. But I think when you, for most of us, it's, the way you approach the game, you appreciate the technique and the work ethic and the toughness and all those things that it takes to be a good player. And Trey had those traits as a youngster, and still has them today. He's a very conscientious guy, very smart, got great people skills, just a real solid human being. So we're glad to have him. And he's the same person that I remember there in 2000, I guess it'd be 11 and 12 up in Seattle.
And you and Peter and Keith all worked with him then, I guess. So was it a relatively easy call to decide to add him to your staff?
Yeah, and we, Trey's young in his coaching career, so he's still going to get better and grow like we all are. We're all trying to improve, and he will do that because he has, again, the work ethic and the intelligence and all those things that it takes to be a great communicator, that it takes to be a great coach. So we talked to a number of candidates, but we really felt like Trey kind of, hit the nail on the head with what we thought would be best for our program, the type of people that we want to surround our players with, just made a lot of sense. And so, there wasn't, sometimes when you don't know somebody, you make a lot of phone calls. You're trying to find out maybe somebody that has worked with a certain person, so you get a reference, on what they're like as a person. But we already knew that, so that part was already done.
Great, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to talk about some of the tackling that you guys did do on Saturday. You said after the first scrimmage, we're exactly where you think we'd be after a first scrimmage. Where are you in regards to the tackling after the second, I guess, day of live work?
Yeah, better than we were the first day. Not as good as we hope to be. So you probably could have answered that one, Trace, but it was better. I thought there was some plays out in the open field that our skill on offense showed up and made guys made some people miss. And then I thought on defense we had a couple more one-on-one opportunities where we did get guys on the ground with some really good finishes. So I thought you want to see both, because you want to see earned plays. I think when you're in this role, you want to see the offense do well, you want to see the defense do well, you want to see the kicking game do well, and you want to see the plays that are made, that they're earned and they're not busts and it's not bad football, So I thought the football was better the second scrimmage, and we would expect it to continue to get better.
Yeah, and I want to continue on that with some of your inside linebackers. It seems you've gone towards a trend of guys who can, tackle well in the open field, maybe not the biggest guys physically, but they're a little more fleet of foot. Is that the direction that you hope to go in at the position?
Well, I think at that position anymore, you got to be able to do both. I mean, that's the game, whether it's high school, college, NFL. I mean, those guys got to be able to play in space. But people are going to run inside zone and power and counter, and you got to be physical enough to play that game too. And I think we have the guys that can do that, because, with Evan Tattersall, who can run, but he's not a small guy. I mean, Mo is not a small guy. Blake's not small. Trey Pastor's not small, and he's just, again, growing into that position. So I don't think that they're small guys by any means, but I think, being able to run and play out in space is nearly a prerequisite in the game anymore, because of the offenses and how they've spread the field.
Okay, we'll go to Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to get your thoughts on short yardage running situations on Saturday, and also pass protection. How did you feel about both those areas?
I thought there was some good solid runs with the backs. I thought the O-line had some really good looks in there. I thought our receivers had some really good pictures of perimeter blocking, which resulted in some productive runs. It takes everybody in the run game. Obviously the O-line and the tight ends, certainly the backs, but receivers blocking, QBs carrying out fakes, all that stuff matters. So I thought there were some really good productive runs in there by a number of different guys, which is nice to see. The running backs as a group, they've definitely taken a step forward, and AT's done a great job with that crew. So I thought that was good. And the pass protection, I think, just like everything, we have some good moments. We have some things that we got to clean up. And, I think when you're mixing and matching people, especially with some really kind of newcomers in there, they're getting a ton of looks from the defensive front right now. And so the communication and guys moving spots, sometimes that can be difficult, but it's kind of like, throwing them in the deep end a little bit, and got to figure it out. And I thought they definitely have made strides in these 12 practices or so. So all in all, we want, guys just getting really good quality reps. And I think we're doing that, and we'll continue to do that this week.
How do you feel like the quarterbacks are progressing in their comfort level with Coach Musgrave's offense? Is it becoming more second nature to them?
Yeah, it really seems like each time we go, anytime we're in a team period, those reps are just so valuable. And then when you go live, it's even more so. So I thought, those guys continue to improve, putting the ball in places where the receivers can get it. I think we've had more kind of contested catches here this spring than we've ever had since I've been here, which is great to see. And talking receivers, backs, tight ends, everybody. And that's the quarterbacks also putting it in a place where those guys can go catch it. But I can think of a number of plays even on Saturday where that happened. And, certainly we want to do a great job in coverage to make those really difficult for the offense. But there was a couple times when it was covered. Think of a fourth down where, Chase threw one to I think it was Gavin Reinwald on a fourth down and short. And I mean, it was covered and Gavin just went up and made a really nice play on it. And Chase put it in a spot where he could go do that. So I think takes everybody, but certainly the quarterbacks are seeming to improve week to week here.
Great, thanks.
Hey, sorry, I skipped David Bush. David, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you already addressed the running backs a little bit, but how are they progressing as a group overall? And specifically Stredick, it looks like he's starting to do some things. How's
Yeah, I think the group's gotten better. I don't think there's any question the group's gotten better. And the number of guys that can go out and do something for us, I think, is growing. So, the guys that have been here a while, Chris Brown and Dancy, and obviously Damian Moore, we saw what kind of talent he's got. But then Chris Street and Ashton Stredick and DeCarlos Brooks, there's just some guys in there that are doing a really nice job. And AT done a great job rolling them through and teaching them. But it is, they each kind of have a different style, which is good. And I think anymore it's probably difficult to go through a entire season with just one guy carrying the ball the whole time. You need to have some able-bodied runners in there to rotate. And we will run the ball, and we'll do it some different schemes and utilize the strengths of the different players when we do it.
And Stredick specifically, what are his strengths and what's he shown you so far?
Ashton is very, very quick. I mean, he very productive high school player, as you probably saw his statistics. I don't know if you didn't see his video, but his statistics were very impressive. He's a really quick guy. He has a little bit of, he and Marcel maybe have some similarities, Nancy, just because the one-cut quickness that they have. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's short, but he's not small. He's not a small guy. He's just not the tallest. Sometimes, people think, short is skinny and thin. He's not that. I mean, he's put together and compact and strong, but he does have some really, really good quickness, and he can be tough to tackle in the open field.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report.
Yeah, where's the place kicking situation at in terms of you starting to figure out who that's going to be for you, and how important will Saturday be for that, or is it something that will go into the summer?
Right now, Dario has done a nice job through the spring. It's always going to be competitive, but I would say right now, Dario would be the place kicker. So, it's just getting game-like reps for those guys, it's just hard to do, and I wish we could have fans in the stadium and create more of that environment for everybody, and especially the kickers, because I would have, it's just something that you can go kick out on the practice field and kind of go through those motions, and that's all good. And guys get really good at doing that, and you can do it in a practice setting, but there's just nothing quite like that game setting. And so the more we can kind of manufacture some situations for those guys to kick under pressure with a rush, we're doing that. And I think they've improved, but Dario right now would be the place kicker.
And you guys have your pro day on Thursday. Kyle has told us it sounds like only 4 or 5 guys this year, but for maybe the 3 main guys, how important is this especially since they really don't have any other venues to show off. There's no combine or anything like that. How much pressure is there, or how much of an opportunity is Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's big. It always is big, the pro day, and especially without the combine, because there's only so many chances to get in front of the people that are making picks and evaluating. So, Jake and Z, obviously Cam, some of those guys got to play in all-star games, which is really valuable as well, because you're there. They're getting coached by the teams. All the scouts and GMs are there. So it's a big moment for all of them. And we just want to make sure that we support them every way that we can. And we'll answer any and all questions that people have about them. But at this point, we just, help facilitate the day for those guys, and it's their moment.
Bigger than usual, even because there's no combine, right?
Yeah, especially if they didn't play in an all-star game. So you bet it's really the only chance for them to get evaluated, in a workout type basis. Now, ultimately, the best evaluation is the tape. That's what we kind of tell all the guys. The number one evaluation is going to be on the game tape, the games that they've played in throughout their college career. And I know in talking to all the evaluators, scouts and GMs and personnel people alike, that's it. They want to be able to confirm their movement skills, their strength, the athleticism, and all those things. And guys can certainly help themselves, but the workout will always come second to the game production.
And what kind of feedback are you, in advance of this, are you getting from the pro people about Cam and Jake and Ziande?
Very positive. Again, it's been a couple years, because a lot of them came through, prior, when these guys were maybe going to be coming up on their senior year the first time. So I think it's been positive. I don't pretend to know exactly what every scout and GM thinks. That's a hard thing to figure out. I mean, every team's a little bit different, but I think that those guys all have opportunities, and ultimately that's all you can ask for, is an opportunity. And certainly they'd all, I'm sure, want to get drafted as high as they possibly can to get themselves in the best situation. But even then, it's what you do with that opportunity, whether you're drafted or you're a free agent, to go out and make the most of it. And we've seen guys come through here who've done just that. So I expect all those guys to make the most of their opportunity. I know that because of how they're wired, what kind of talents they have, and I would expect them to do well when given the opportunity.
I can hog you for one more question. Can you just talk about your agenda for the final week of practice and what you hope to see on Saturday in the spring game?
It's going to be very competitive again. We had a good day today out in the field, really more out in the field. We were in shells, but it was competitive. Wednesday will be another highly competitive day. And so I think it's just been extremely productive. The energy at practice has been really good throughout spring ball. And I think the number of reps for the number of different people has proven extremely valuable to the program. And so we're going to have another really heavy work day on Wednesday. And Friday will be a helmets practice. And we're going to do a ton of situational work in there, because there's just not near as much kind of 11 on 11 where you're hitting. So Friday's a situational day, and we'll cover a lot of the things that kind of the last plays, 4-minute kind of certain specialty type situations, and then also probably get some 7 on. And then Saturday will be competitive, and we'll get out there and scrimmage again.
Thank you.
Okay, Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, I think we've asked about Jermaine Terry a dozen times at least this spring, but we need to talk about some of the other tight ends. Can you run through the rest of that room and what they've managed to accomplish this spring?
Yeah. Well, you got some veterans in there. Colin, who's just, been such a steady guy for our program. I think you know Colin's story. Walked on as a quarterback, had a number of injuries. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought Colin, was going to have to not give up football because of the injuries that he had kind of had to work through, but he wouldn't have it. I mean, he wanted to do anything to be on the team, and he's just an extremely hard worker. He's a great mentor for the younger guys, great leader for our team. So he's done an awesome job. Jake Ton just continues to get better. I think Jake has really grown in his time here. It's been fun to watch. Gavin, have him doing some different things for the offense, which is great. I think Nick Alfton's, gotten better this spring. I mean, the whole room, really, Jake Moeller, Mojo. I think Mojo been noticeable, in the last 6 months or so, kind of how he's improved. Elijah Maharo. So it's a really good room. And I know, Jeep's got a ton of experiences to draw off of, and I know they're enjoying, playing for him. Just, I think we've grown that room over the last few years and really look forward to that group helping us move forward as an offense.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, guys, anybody with a final question, let me know in the next 5 seconds or so. Okay, it looks like everybody